Let's talk about M3GAN 2.0 and its ending, and what exactly does this movie do to further the M3GAN universe, because we are indeed in a universe, y'all, and if you weren't a fan of the first M3GAN, you're probably not going to like this one, but if you loved M3GAN, you're probably going to love M3GAN 2.0. And actually, there is a new movie that is going to be coming out in a couple of months, which is Soulmate. We'll talk about that in a bit, but it's part of the M3GAN universe. So pretty much at the end of the first M3GAN, we saw that M3GAN obliterated by Gemma as well as Katie after M3GAN went a little overboard with trying to protect Katie, even to the point that she was pretty much like taking Gemma out almost. Now, 2 years have passed and Gemma and Katie's relationship, it's only gotten worse, y'all. It's only gotten worse. But there's another threat in the horizon with Amelia, which is a robot that is designed by the US military in order to infiltrate enemies. Now, this robot is used with the same schematics of sorts that M3GAN was used, and it sort of has a resemblance to M3GAN. But Amelia is a little bit older and a lot more deadlier, it seems, and lethal. One day Amelia goes rogue and she just begins to become her own person of sorts and tries to get away from the government. The government then tracks down Gemma and tries to find a way to get her on their side to help them track down Amelia. Gemma doesn't want anything to do with this, but they quickly tell her, well, your life is going to be on the line because Amelia is going down a sort of path. Anybody down the line that has like had a hand in her creation in order to completely go rogue and sort of do an AI takeover. Now, Gemma's against this because she is over AI. She is against AI. She's trying to write books against AI, trying to convince the government to pass laws against AI. Her boyfriend now at the time, Christian, also is doing the same thing, and they're both working together. So the last thing she wants to do is to meddle into anything else with AI. Well, it quickly turns out she's going to have to because Amelia starts attacking them. Now, unbeknownst to everybody, including Gemma, M3GAN has been here the whole time, just sort of seeing what's going on, and she's been in the softwares like in the Alexas and things like that in Gemma's home, as well as being able to find Gemma and Katie a place to stay and sort of covering the bills of sorts, if you will, because she's been buying all of Gemma's books and so on and so forth. She tells Gemma, I'm your only hope, I'm the only one that can go up against Amelia, but you're gonna have to build me a body in order to do so. After some convincing, Gemma and her co-workers Cole and Tess decide to bring M3GAN back from the dead of sorts with a new body in order to take on Amelia. What we see happen is a stealth mission in order to infiltrate a conference where they believe that Amelia will be going to, because Amelia is ultimately trying to get to a motherboard that was created decades ago, which harnesses an AI that was created then that has only been gaining strength all of these years. And in this conference, they're going to use Christian as bait because they know Amelia is going to go after him because he was sort of working cybersecurity for that company where the motherboard is now. At this conference, however, things go bad and eventually Amelia is able to get a hold of Katie, as we see M3GAN and Gemma ultimately get into a big fight because Katie is now gone and is so important to M3GAN. That's her soul like person to take care of. So M3GAN's pretty pissed off that Gemma let this happen, but they eventually decide to go after Amelia together and they make it to Xenox where the motherboard is at. As M3GAN is trying to infiltrate here, Gemma and her team then find out that somebody is still hacking them, but it's not Amelia. So now Gemma thinks that M3GAN has been double crossing them this whole time and she has been trying to sort of make them believe that she is on their side, but she's just been doing this for her own gain. Turns out it's not M3GAN, it's actually Christian who has been duping Gemma this whole time, and we find out from Christian that he actually is the one behind Amelia and is trying to do this in order to get the regulations that he wants for AI to happen. In his mind, he doesn't care who becomes a casualty, who becomes a victim, or who dies, as long as the regulations that he thinks will better the earth and the world are passed on. And we see that Christian is willing to do whatever it takes, even sacrificing Gemma, Katie, and her friends, and of course M3GAN, who is now taken hostage and is severely beat. And so Gemma then is taken and has a chip implanted in her brain because Christian says this is the way that he can control her and he will be able to pretty much make her into whatever he wants. Now, the thing that Christian doesn't count on is that M3GAN tries to attack Gemma, but this is a sneak attack. She's actually trying to hit the chip, so she's able to infiltrate it, which she does. So now Gemma and M3GAN are sort of combined because M3GAN is in the chip, and we see that M3GAN helps Gemma get out of this. Now, unbeknownst to everybody, of course, Katie is here trapped as well, but they don't know where she is, but Cole's able to find her, and Cole is pretty much like, how are we going to get out of this? We don't know where Gemma is. We don't know know what happened to M3GAN. Christian has all of these people here, like there's just no way. And then Katie gets the idea of, wait, if Amelia is made out of the same schematics as M3GAN, maybe I can pair with her and she can sort of protect me, and then we can use Amelia as a shield of sorts. So we see that Katie and Amelia pair together, which is still like M3GAN, but after Amelia gets like hit, she becomes Amelia once again, and then now she's on the rampage. Now she really is rogue. At the beginning of the film, she was being controlled by Christian. She was never really sentient of sorts. She was just a robot being controlled. But now Amelia is being controlled, and she goes on a rampage, killing everybody in one of the most insane like scenes in the whole movie, and honestly an amazing scene throughout this whole year. We see Amelia using like laser sort of electricity gun of sorts that she makes, and it's just batshit insane. And we see Katie and Cole trying to get out of there. Now on the other side of things, you have Gemma, who is being controlled now by M3GAN, puts on like a power suit of sorts in order to take down some of the guards here. And then we see Katie and Cole meet up with Gemma, and they're pretty much like, yeah, we got some bigger fish to fry, as we see Amelia come forth. But as they are trying to outrun and get out of there, they run into Christian, who is willing to kill Katie in order to like pretty much make his escape happen. But Katie, of course, has been taking some self-defense classes, and she's able to take down Christian. And we finally see that he is pretty much going to get killed by Amelia, who shows up right behind him, and she just pretty much splatters him all over. We see that Amelia finally finds the mother box that she's been trying to get, and she decides to harness all of its power, and she pretty much has unlimited power at this point. M3GAN's old body is still able to walk, however, to the surprise of everybody, as we see that she still has an EMP that was attached to her as sort of a contingency plan, where she will just like blow her and also Amelia up, which she's able to do after making Amelia believe that she will be on her side and getting close enough to her to blow the EMP, and making thus both of them dead and obsolete, as we see Gemma, Katie, Cole, and Tess make it out of the Xenox factory back home. Now, as we get back home, we pretty much see that everybody is back. They're trying to get better at their relationship, Gemma and Katie, and it seems that things are going to be all right. But then we finally get our confirmation that M3GAN is indeed still alive. She's just living in the software of sorts still, and she has become the little paperclip for Microsoft Word. And I thought that that was such a good way to end the film there, which kind of leaves us thinking there's probably going to be a M3GAN 3. So M3GAN obviously now has become a lot closer, not only to Katie, but also to Gemma. And I think M3GAN has showcased that she's able to be sort of an ally of sorts to maybe the world now. Superhero M3GAN, is that where we're going? Is that the direction that the directors and the writers want to take it? I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would love to see M3GAN go on more sci-fi adventures. I really loved how this was more of an action sci-fi film than a horror film, and I think that that was interesting to see. I do feel that Amelia didn't get enough time to shine. That's the only problem here, besides two cool fight scenes that happen and a couple of scenes at the beginning of the film. There's not much to see from Amelia besides that, but I think they wanted to sort of showcase that there can be these more adult robots, because the next film in this franchise or universe is Soulmate with Leslie Sullivan, in which we will see a android that goes pretty much rogue after they fall in love with a human of sorts. But that's a whole like other story that's waiting to happen, and that's going to be coming out in January, so stay tuned for that one, because that one's going to be a doozy. But overall, I thought that the ending to M3GAN 2.0 was very fun. I thought the film as a whole was funny and a lot of action that really elevated more. Terminator 2 vibes is what this is, but with a lot more comedy for sure. And you know, I'm excited to see what they are going to do with M3GAN, but pretty much at the end of the film, the real villain was Christian. He had just been duping Gemma this whole time, making her believe that she was the one that was out of control, but he was secretly trying to use AI against the world in order to prevent it, because he thought if he could make AI look really bad and really destructive and really like a dark thing, then he could pass the legislation he wants, even if it means sacrificing some people along the way, which Gemma of course was opposed. She's opposed to AI still, but she's also not opposed to figuring out the best way to sort of go forth with this, because like she says at the end, it's here and people are just using it, so let's put some regulations on it. I don't think we can fully stop it anymore. So that's pretty much what M3GAN 2.0 is. Kind of a scary thought if you think about it, but still really fun movie, really solid solid story. I think a little bit too long, a little bit too convoluted for its own good sometimes, and sort of not enough Amelia as we needed it, but still I thought it was solid. So let me know what you thought about M3GAN 2.0. Let me know what you think about Soulmate coming out next year as well, and do you want more M3GAN movies in the future? Comment below your thoughts and opinions. Check out our ending explained for Squid Game season 3, as well as for 28 Years Later, the Bone Temple Theory video we have out, and I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.